Hey everyone, and welcome to my top 5 urban fantasy book recommendations. I love an urban fantasy book and I've read a lot of them over the years. So today what I thought I'd do is take you through my top 5 recommendations for urban fantasy. The first one I'm mentioning is the one that I use in every single recommendations video I can get away with, and that is Skulduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. This is a middle grade where we are following Valkyrie Kane, who is a normal teenage girl, when one day her uncle dies and then she ends up being pulled into this world of magic and sorcerers and this kind of thing, and ends up partnering with Skulduggery Pleasant, who is a magical skeleton detective, as they basically then go around solving crimes, figuring out what's going on, saving the world from various magical threats and all of this kind of thing. And these books are so much fun to read. I've been reading them since I was 11. They were literally my introduction to urban fantasy, and they are really, really well done. If you want murder mysteries, they're in here. If you want to see people saving the world from various magical threats, you've got that in here. There's plot twists in here that are so well done that you don't notice the foreshadowing for them until you go back and reread the books and you go, oh, wait a minute, he's been plotting this for a while, and you don't actually see it until the plot twist comes out. There's also a whole load of supernatural creatures in here as well, so you've got vampires at one point, you've got Frankenstein type monster things in here as well, you're also getting gods, you're also getting killers who very much resemble slashers, people made of spiders. The world is so expansive as well, and you are dealing with so many different types of magic and different magical communities, this kind of thing. It is so well done. It is genuinely one of my favourite books of all time, hence why I keep on recommending it. And this is perfect if you love fantasy and want to get into urban fantasy, but you also like a bit of horror as well. It is all in here, and also there are 18 books to get stuck into as well, so you're going to be busy for a while, and it is so well worth the read. I adore it. There is also The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and this one is following the idea of what if when cities became a certain size and a certain population density and a certain age, they come alive and people are chosen as their kind of avatars to represent that city, and they have to be there to protect it, and what happens when New York gets to that size and population density and age, and 5 people then become the living embodiment of each of the boroughs of New York, and they've got to try and save it from a multiversal threat. And this is so much fun to read. It is obviously multiversal, which can get a little bit complicated, but it is so well worth the read, especially if you are brand new to urban fantasy and you don't want to get stuck into like an 18 book series. This is a really quick, really fun duology that I absolutely adore. It is brilliantly done. It also covers a lot of very, very important topics like racism and sexism and homophobia and things like this, and also it's done by N.K. Jemisin, who is a fantastic writer, and I do not believe you can go wrong reading any N.K. Jemisin book in general, but if you are looking for urban fantasy, this is definitely one to check out. Then I also have to recommend the Toby Day series. This is by Sean Maguire, and this time we are following a half-fae, half-human detective who deals with murders and mysteries within the fae community. So if you are someone who reads a lot of books about the fae, this is definitely one to check out. It is around 16 books long at the moment, if I remember rightly. It's still ongoing, but it is well worth the read. I've read the first 3 so far and really, really enjoyed myself. I love the world of this one. I love visiting the Faelands and everything that's going on there. I also love seeing as well all of the other kind of supernatural creatures and communities that are around Toby Day as well. I think they are all fantastic, and they are a really, really fun time, especially if you are a fan of the Fae and you want to get into more urban fantasy. If you're a fan of retellings, you can also check out A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney, and this one is actually an Alice in Wonderland retelling, which definitely feels like it's also taking from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, in the sense that you are following Alice, who is hunting demons who come from Wonderland, and she's protecting her city from demons and the world from demons who come from Wonderland. And this is so much fun. You do not have to be an Alice in Wonderland fan to read this. I particularly am not really the biggest fan of Alice in Wonderland, but I do love this series. I do think it is an absolutely excellent one, and I really love the take that they've had on Alice as well as Wonderland, all of the other characters. I love the demon hunting element of it as well, and if you are a fan of retellings or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this is definitely one to go for. And finally, I also have to mention Inkheart here. This one is a slightly chunkier trilogy, but it is still a trilogy, so it is a very, very quick read as well. And this one is not your traditional urban fantasy in the sense that you aren't dealing with like murders or trying to save people from demons Buffy style or anything else. And instead, this one is actually dealing with a guy who can read people out of books. So as long as he is reading out loud, he can read people from books into the real world, essentially. And it all goes from there. And this is a really, really fun time. It is also the basis of the Brendan Fraser movie Inkheart as well, so if you are a fan of that movie, you can definitely read this book, and it is so much fun to read. It is definitely not your traditional urban fantasy in the sense that you aren't dealing with like murders or demons and trying to fight like interdimensional people or anything else, but it is still definitely an urban fantasy and a really, really fun time. And that is my top 5 urban fantasy book recommendations. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me your favourite urban fantasies. I'd love to know so I can start checking them out. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a book stack emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos where I'm going to be reading and recommending more urban fantasy books, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!